The story opens in the aftermath of a mistake Archie would rather bury than acknowledge. He lies in a hospital bed surrounded by sterile walls and the uncomfortable quiet that only touches men when they've run out of excuses. Friends and nurses question what pills he took, whether they were narcotics, whether he's been careless. Archie deflects everything with gruff denials. He insists they were just little pills harmless necessary. But his own voice betrays shame. Edith tries to calm him, smoothing his hair, promising everything will be fine. She reminds him the doctor says he can go home soon. Archie hates inspirational cliches, the kind found in songs that tell people to smile through storms. To him, happiness isn't a switch. It's a fragile condition earned through survival, and lately, even that feels slipping. Returning home doesn't bring peace. Instead, Archie sinks into bed as though it's a bunker against the world. The bar he poured years into has collapsed in his absence. Furniture has been hauled away by creditors, the piano repossessed, even the pinball machine whisked off. Manuel speaks timidly, explaining how everything disappeared. Archie stares at the empty corners, imagining each missing item as a chunk of his pride torn out. He growls that he was born nothing and maybe fate wants him to stay that way. Edith argues, saying bars have bad seasons, but Archie refuses reason. He threatens to stay in bed 20 years. The family reacts with panic, offering food warmth, reassurances, none of which crack his protective shell. Hope arrives in the form of Harry, an old friend and former partner. Archie refuses to speak to him at first, claiming betrayal. But the truth is simpler. When people disappear during crisis, pain twists into resentment. Edith begs Archie to reconsider. Eventually, pride gives way just enough to allow conversation. Negotiations unfold like a chess match of egos. Harry offers partnership. Archie counters with absurd percentages as if numbers can protect him from vulnerability. Finally, the two men shake hands, sealing an agreement. It's rough, imperfect, but real. For Archie, partnership feels like weakness. For his family, it feels like salvation. Not long afterward, the city plunges into darkness. A blackout blankets neighborhoods in panic. The family huddles at home, discovering how many things depend on electricity, television lights, radios, refrigerators. Candles flicker on cheesecake almost spoiled. Archie arrives irritated, finding his chair and bed occupied by neighbors seeking refuge. They argue about looting and chaos. Archie blames them, never defining who they are. Mike pushes back, arguing economic, social pressure, and desperation. Their argument escalates into the anatomy of fear. The blackout becomes metaphor. When the lights go out, assumptions sharpen into accusations. And yet, as power returns, laughter tries to patch tensions. Neighbors thank each other and file into the night, carrying stories home. Later, a stranger from a group calling itself a team of crusaders approaches Archie and praises his opinions on law and order. This flattery hits Archie's hunger for importance. They invite him to a meeting. Curiosity and ego push him to attend. At the gathering, protocols and questionnaires probe into religion and supremacy. Archie tries to stay agreeable, believing this is just civic engagement. Cloaked in patriotic veneer, the group reveals extremist roots. Only later does Archie realize he's entangled with a modern echo of historical hate. Meanwhile, Mike publishes an editorial criticizing inequality. His words carry impact. Students discuss it. Neighbors whisper. The Crusaders read it and fume. They vow retaliation, planning cross-burnings across town, including one in front of the house Archie shares with Mike, Gloria, and the baby. Fear ripples through the rooms. Gloria trembles, imagining flames near her infant. Edith pleads with Archie to stop them. Archie confronts the men in a moment of raw fear. They laugh at first. Then Archie weaponizes self-awareness. He recalls his blood transfusion, hinting it may have come from black donors. The Crusaders recoil, superstition and prejudice twisting their faces. He threatens to gather men from that community to retaliate. Startled, the Crusaders retreat. When Archie returns home, he whispers that he needs to think. For once, silence is heavier than anger. Time shifts backward to teenage memories. Gloria and her friend Debbie gossip in a kitchen, debating romantic ideals. Two college boys arrive. One has a beard that fascinates and terrifies Gloria. Their conversation stumbles like new dancers. Knock-knock jokes fail spectacularly. Hair becomes a topic of unexpected analysis. Tension dances with innocence. They play music awkwardly, attempting classic dance moves. Mike, years younger, tries to impress by naming authors and offering intellectual humor. Gloria replies with playful sarcasm. Hormones could ignite, but fear restrains. A leg cramp ruins the moment. The boy retreats politely. Debbie later dramatizes events, exaggerating romance into legend. But the truth stays simple curiosity, hesitation, and honesty define the encounter. Back in the present, marmalade jars appear like quiet ambassadors of goodwill. Edith gifts them to frail relatives, neighbors, even strangers. She believes sweetness can soften bitterness. Archie grumbles about the mess jars make, but his grumbling hides admiration. Soon after, bar business grows again. Harry and Archie establish theme nights. Customers return filling stools with laughter and music. The jukebox becomes a surrogate piano. Archie wipes the counter with habits that express ownership and pride. Still, shadows linger. Graffiti blooms on brick walls at night. Flyers vanish. Rumors circulate. Gloria fears the baby will grow up between fear and fences. Mike writes more editorials, assertive, passionate, sometimes angry. Archie reprimands him, worried words can draw fire. Mike counters silence is complicity. Their arguments mellow into discussions, evidence of gradual progress. One evening, Archie catches sight of a familiar man lingering outside the bar. It's a crusader. The man tries to engage Archie, praising extremist ideals. Archie refuses. Humiliation fills the man's eyes. Without words, a threat is promised before he slips into darkness. Archie's heartbeat thunders. He tells no one afraid speech gives fear power. Soon afterward, Edith announces she will visit her dying aunt, bringing marmalade. Archie bristles, furious about visiting deathbeds. Edith remains gentle, yet firm. She goes. Archie mumbles that she shouldn't witness pain. After she leaves, loneliness gnaws at him. The house grows quiet. Mike studies at the table. Gloria hums while folding laundry. Archie sits in his chair, staring at the blank television. He imagines Aunt Alicia's final breath, and a cold thought pierces him one day. He will lie helpless, surrounded by whispers, cloves, and fading memory. He shivers. Days later, Edith returns, eyes glistening. She describes how her aunt's last taste was marmalade and how she smiled faintly. Archie listens, silently throat-tightening. For the first time in years, he offers Edith a tissue. She squeezes his hand. The bar continues thriving. Harry jokes that they might need a second location someday. Archie grunts, but secretly likes imagining a bigger empire. Customers cheer when Archie tells outdated jokes, his timing rough, but sincerity disarming. Behind the counter, he finds himself smiling more often, even when alone. Then, danger returns. Late at night, as snow begins to fall, someone paints hateful words on the bar's door. Archie's stomach knots. Without waiting for Harry, he grabs a bucket and washes away graffiti. Neighbors gather slowly. Some help, others simply watch. A young boy brings extra soap. An elderly woman hands Archie a brush. In the cold night, community cleanses hatred. Archie sees that even anonymous kindness can outnumber anonymous threats. He returns home soaked, exhausted, but smiling faintly. Edith greets him with a warm towel. She whispers, "You're becoming the man you always pretended to be." The comment lands softly like a seed. The next morning, the newspaper features an article praising multiple neighborhoods for resisting extremist vandalism. Archie feels a flutter of pride in his chest. He folds the newspaper carefully and sets it on the kitchen counter, like a cherished artifact. Later, the town organizes a fundraiser to repair vandalized spaces. Archie offers his bar as venue. People attend eagerly. Musicians play, children paint murals, police officers and activists share tables. For one evening, labels dissolve. Archie gives a speech thanking everyone. His voice shakes, but not from fear, from gratitude. Applause erupts. Winter deepens. Snowstorms bring both beauty and inconvenience. Archie hauls firewood, muttering theatrically. Edith laughs, handing him hot cocoa. Mike creates a reading nook by the fireplace, surrounded by books. Gloria dresses the baby in oversized wool sweaters, posting pictures for relatives. Warmth fills every corner. On one particular night, the lights flicker again. For a breath, fear returns. Memories of cross-burning threats hover. Archie lights candles instantly, but instead of panic, the family laughs. They tell stories. Archie recounts how his father once set his own trousers ablaze lighting cigars. Everyone roars. Fear loses again. Months pass. Snow melts into spring. Flowers push through thawed soil. At the bar, Archie trains a new young bartender. He teaches him not just pours and measurements, but patience and hospitality. He insists customers need someone who will listen more than someone who will serve. The young bartender nods. Archie realizes he is passing down something meaningful, something beyond prejudice. As spring warms the neighborhood, sunlight spills over quiet streets, washing away shadows that once lingered nervously along fences and porches. Flower shops reopen, children drag chalk sticks across driveways, and the local park fills with the sound of playful shrieks. Archie's bar benefits from this seasonal shift. Patrons arrive smiling, eager for cold drinks and light conversation. Harry posts a chalkboard sign offering discounts on lemonade spritzers and spring ales. The chalk smudges in warm breezes, turning each letter soft and playful. Archie stands by the door greeting regulars as if he were the mayor of a small town built entirely around his counter. Pride radiates from him, though he tries to hide it beneath gruff muttering. Inside the bar becomes a stage for everyday confessions. One man vents about his boss. Another woman laments the rising cost of utilities. Archie listens with surprising patience. He knows too well what defeat tastes like. Sometimes he offers advice, sometimes silence, both carrying weight. Harry remarks one evening that Archie has unexpectedly evolved into an anchor for the community, someone who helps others stand when everything tries to push them down. Archie scoffs, pretending to reject the compliment, but later alone he feels warmth bloom in his chest. At home, Gloria reads books about child development, curious about how humans learn fear and love. She rocks her baby in a chair near an open window, allowing the breeze to brush gently across soft cheeks. She sings lullabies learned from Edith, creating generational lineage through melody. When the baby falls asleep, she stands quietly watching tiny breaths rise and fall. Her anxiety about cross-burning retreats has faded slowly, replaced with something sturdier, quiet confidence that courage can protect innocence as fiercely as locks and fences. Mike continues publishing letters and essays, each one more thoughtful than the last. He explores how communities fracture under pressure, how prejudice thrives in silence, and how average people are seduced by the illusion of superiority. His writing earns praise from professors, activists, and strangers who mail handwritten notes expressing gratitude. A few angry letters arrive too thick with venom, but Mike reads them carefully, studying the language of fear. He learns that hatred often begins with loneliness and misunderstanding. His studies begin forming a hypothesis: communities desperate for identity cling to anything that resembles purpose, even if it harms others. He shares his thoughts with Archie one evening, and surprisingly, Archie listens instead of arguing. Humans change not suddenly, but incrementally, like seasons shifting beneath soil. Meanwhile, Edith becomes unofficial ambassador of neighborhood peace. She brings marmalade to newborn parents, to widows, to cranky old men who never seem to smile. Her jars become tokens of hope, glimmering in sunlit windows. Once she visits a woman rumored to have whispered hateful things months ago. Instead of scolding, Edith asks about her health, her loneliness, her garden. The woman softens. A single act of generosity erodes months of mistrust. Rumors shift accordingly. Now people whisper about how kind Edith is, how powerful small sweetness can be. Archie watches from afar, learning through her gestures what lectures never taught. But peace is fragile. One afternoon, while Archie sweeps cigarette butts from the sidewalk, a pickup truck roars past. A man leans out the window shouting an insult laced with old poison. Archie freezes. The broom pauses midair. Neighbors glance cautiously from porches. The truck disappears around a corner, exhaust trailing like smoke from a dying fire. Harry steps outside, resting a hand on Archie's shoulder. "You can't scrub ignorance by yourself," he says quietly. Archie grunts, gripping the broom tighter. Anger flares, but quickly fades not into fear, but determination. He keeps sweeping, pushing filth into the dustpan with steady strokes. Neighbors take note. Willpower lived publicly becomes contagious. That evening at dinner, everyone senses Archie is distant. He barely touches his stew. Gloria asks if he's all right. Edith asks twice. Finally, he sighs, admitting that hatred still lurks in corners he cannot clean. Mike responds gently, "You can end storms, but you can build roofs." Archie chuckles despite himself. He mutters something about philosophers hiding inside his son-in-law's head. Later that night, Archie stands on the porch alone, watching streetlights glow like small guardians. The quiet night hums with crickets. His thoughts drift to the Crusader men, their smug grins, their stolen bravado, their empty eyes. He wonders if any of them go home ashamed, or if they sleep peacefully convinced righteousness surrounds them like armor. He hopes strangely that one of them might feel regret someday. As summer arrives, the bar hosts a local talent night. Patrons sing off-key, recite questionable poetry, juggle produce, and tell jokes. The bar erupts in laughter. Even children show up to perform magic tricks with misplaced cards. Archie laughs so hard his stomach aches. When he returns home, he feels younger than he has in years. Edith asks why he's smiling. He answers honestly, "Because I forgot to be angry today." She wipes a smudge of cake frosting from his cheek and kisses him softly. But beneath the levity, subtle tensions persist. News reports discuss racist incidents in nearby towns. Politicians debate whether extremist groups are isolated or spreading. Mike reads scripts aloud, urging attention. Gloria grows uneasy, clutching her baby whenever sirens pierce the night. Archie feels old fears stirring like embers blown awake by wind. One late evening, the family gathers around the dinner table. Talk drifts to safety, community, and what-if scenarios. Gloria asks softly whether they should move somewhere safer. Archie surprises everyone by replying, "Running doesn't fix roots." Silence follows, heavy but hopeful. Mike adds that they've already proven resilience. As if to punctuate the sentiment, the baby babbles, happily smearing mashed peas across the tray. Later, Archie and Edith sit on the sofa, wrapping themselves in an old quilt. She notes his shoulders seem straighter lately. He hums noncommittally, then admits he's tired of letting fear shape his thoughts. She tells him shifting direction is the bravest step anyone can take. Archie whispers he once thought bravery was just refusing to back down. Edith replies, gently, bravery is refusing to stay stuck. As years pass, Archie earns a reputation for being both stubborn and surprisingly fair. People come to him for advice, young couples, small business owners, confused teenagers who don't know who they're becoming. He scolds them maybe, but also listens. He directs them toward resolve. The more he listens, the more he understands the origin of fear, confusion, exhaustion, loneliness wearing masks of anger. Neighbors begin recalling the fearful time of cross-burning rumors as distant history. Remember when becomes code 4, we survived something ugly. Archie drinks coffee on the porch, realizing he helped that survival by saying one small no. Sometimes heroes are simply the ones who refuse to cheer at the wrong moment. One afternoon, Archie sees a teenage boy painting over an offensive symbol on a dumpster wall. He approaches ready to lecture about trespassing, but the boy explains he's fixing vandalism because someone has to. Archie swallows surprise. Without thinking, he grabs a paintbrush and helps. They paint in silent strokes, blending like two rhythms aligning. The boy leaves without learning Archie's name. That anonymity comforts Archie. Good deeds don't need plaques. Meanwhile, Edith's marmalade gains mythical status locally. Some claim it heals sadness. Others swear it tastes like childhood. She laughs at the exaggerations but appreciates the compliments. Even parents who whispered distrust months ago now send polite notes requesting jars. Edith continues quietly loving the idea that sweetness can ripple outward forever. During summer's height, a local journalist writes a feature on the bar's inclusive atmosphere. Patrons of different backgrounds sit together sharing tables because space is limited. Conversations flow between strangers. Sometimes arguments spark, but Archie mediates them gently. He has learned that shouting only builds walls. Calm questions build bridges. The journalist quotes him, and when Archie reads the published piece, he nearly drops his coffee. He pretends to hate attention, but Edith sees the small grin he fights to hide. Sometime later, an elderly man wanders into the bar, confused, searching for a friend who passed away years earlier. Archie recognizes the blank panic behind his eyes. Instead of dismissing him, he sits beside the old man, listens to memories of long-closed factories and lost dances. Archie pays for his drink quietly, then walks him to his granddaughter's house. When the door opens, grateful tears spill. Archie says nothing heroic. He simply nods, turning back toward his bar.